in our continuing coverage about tech coming back to work and the pandemic eventually ending, which we're all hoping for. I am so frustrated about this Delta variant. My God, we could have had everybody back to work. We could have been opening up society, and some percentage of you have opted out of getting the vaccine and have opted to get the Delta variant. There's new information out there for you. The Delta variant is massively more contagious. You're not going to avoid getting COVID if you're not vaccinated in all likelihood. You're either going to get vaccinated and maybe get a light case of the Delta variant, or you're definitely going to get Delta variant. That seems to be the case here. Please, if you're hearing my voice, just think about, do you want to have this argument about lockdowns and arguments about masks for the next year or the next 6 months? All we have to do is get another 10% of the people hearing my voice, maybe 20%, depending on the neighborhood or the town you live in. If just another 10, 20% of y'all who have been holding out get the vaccine, this is going to end and we can have parties and go to Vegas and go to concerts again and go to sporting arenas. Who the heck wants to be in a perpetual state of arguing over lockdowns and masks and Karens fighting about masks or no masks? I don't care if you didn't take the vaccine before. I'm just asking you right now, if you're an anti-vaxxer or you've been avoiding it, just look at the new data and just take some fresh eyes and investigate it, because now there's 1 billion people on the planet who've gotten these vaccines. If there was a problem with them, I think we would know by now, don't you think? And do you think the risk of the Delta variant, which is highly contagious and spreading like wildfire, what if that was spreading like wildfire and it was 3 times as lethal? Well, that's a possibility, right? These things mutate. So take this as a public service announcement. And let's talk about going back to work, because this now, the Delta variant, has given everybody who doesn't want to go back to work or anybody who doesn't want to go back and be a teacher, the ability to say, you know what, I don't feel safe. I don't want to go back to work. Well, you know what? Now this is escalating. People are going to be asked to wear vaccine buttons to prove they're vaccinated. They're going to start asking for vaccine cards when you go to restaurants and movie theaters and sporting events, like they did at the Knicks game when I watched my Knicks go to the first round of the playoffs for the first time in a decade. They're going to be, you're basically, by not getting the vaccine and by extending this, we're just going to create even more chaos in society. And here we go. Sundar Pichai told employees in a note Wednesday that the Mountain View, California-based company would begin requiring anyone on its U.S. campuses to be vaccinated in the coming weeks. He said Google will expand that requirement to other countries in future months. Google is planning on returning to work in mid-October. They were going to do September. And he mentioned on Twitter, and Google expects employees back in the office 3 days a week on average. So you're going to be required, if you're working in certain jobs, if you're going to certain sporting events, you're going to be required to get this vaccine. And so I think maybe take a look into it, take a deep look. And these companies, I think, are benefiting from work from home. So I don't think work from home is going away. I think it's going to be a very flexible environment for the next couple of years. And Google has joined Morgan Stanley, United Airlines, BlackRock, and other companies who have either banned unvaccinated employees from their offices or required them to be vaccinated. And that's by courts at work. We spoke about vaccine passports and private companies requiring vaccines in order to return back to work on All In episode 40 and 41. And people were complaining about those 2 episodes. Hey, we're talking about this too much. Well, you know, if you're in business or you're covering the markets or you're in politics, like, we need to end this pandemic and get it down to under 100 deaths a day, under 10,000 cases a day. And guess what? We were at that level a month ago. In the beginning of July, we were below, I think we're 11,000 cases on average 30 days ago. Now we're back up to 50. We were at, like, some days 150 people dying in the United States. Who knows how many of them are dying with COVID as opposed to dying from COVID? Who knows how many of them were, end of life. So they weren't dying with the majority of their life ahead of them. They might have died a couple of years earlier. Obviously still tragic, but we had this thing beat, folks. And now we're going to have to get into a war with our employees and getting on planes and with each other. Are you masked? Are you vaxxed? Let's stop this annoying thing and move back to solving bigger problems in the world, like global warming and making sure everybody has a great education and healthcare for everybody. Please reconsider if you have put off getting a vaccine or the second shot, because the second shot, I understand, is critical. What's going to happen to unvaccinated employees? Well, in tech, we need employees. And if you're unvaccinated, you're going to be working from home. If you're an exceptional employee, that's great. But if you don't come to the office in a company that's a hybrid company, I do think if you're not in the office with the locus of power and the top executives, you're probably going to be throttling your career advancement, and not intentionally. It's just going to be harder to advance. It doesn't mean you won't advance, but you can imagine if you're sitting next to Zuckerberg or you're sitting next to Bezos or whoever the new CEO of Amazon is, you're going to go further. If you're on the campus, you're just going to go further, faster, and with less effort. It's going to just be easier to go further in your career because you'll have built those relationships. And when a new opportunity comes up, is the new opportunity, think about a manager or a CEO of a big company. New opportunity comes out. We're going to do AR glasses, VR glasses. We're starting a car division at Apple. Are they going to give it to somebody who's working from, some lake, Lake Como or something? This person's on the Amalfi Coast on a different time zone. You're not putting that person in charge of it. Great. That person gets to live on the Amalfi Coast. Amazing. But they're not going to get to advance their career and have the most interesting work. So if you care about the most interesting work in the world and you want to be near the locus power and you don't want to have to get COVID and you want to stop arguing with people and you want to go to sporting events and have musicians go on tour again and we get to go to concerts, oh my Lord, or a Broadway show, let's just all get vaccinated. Not all of us, just 10% more. Please do it. Please reconsider. Too many small business owners are busier than ever. It is crazy out there. Things are growing like gangbusters, but since they're focused on managing and growing their businesses, they can't always spend the time they need to on recruiting, the most important part of running your company. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has made it easier to find and hire the best candidates for free. You can get started by posting your job for free to reach LinkedIn's network of 740 million professionals. Fill out targeted screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified candidates with the experience, skills, and motivation you need. Then it's easy to filter and prioritize the top candidates you'd like to interview. So easy using LinkedIn's software. We love LinkedIn Jobs here at Launch, and in 2021, we've hired a second producer, a curriculum designer, and a few more researchers, all through LinkedIn Jobs. We love it. It's easy. Your job is going to get in front of the right person, and you might find that game changer, that unicorn that will change everything at your company. And boy, is it amazing. In that feeling when you find somebody who's a really great contributor? Well, you can have that feeling right now, because every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. Post your first job for free at linkedin.com/unicorn. That's right. Your first job is free. LinkedIn.com/unicorn. UNICORN. You don't have to spell unicorn. That's LinkedIn.com/unicorn to post your first job for free. Terms and conditions apply because they're giving you something for free.